too, so
Yeah,
just
yeah, no
don't say
problem.
anything. Yeah,
No
crazy.
problem.
Yeah. Okay. Why do I don't know if I would say broadly like I support the Israelis or in terms of like supporting a side. I would say that like I believe that a two-state solution is the only reasonable path forward. I don't support Hamas. I think that Hamas is a terrorist organization. I don't support anything they do. I don't support the settlements in the West Bank. I feel like it's a territorial expansionist policy that hampers the peace process for everybody. Yeah, I don't know. That's like broadly speaking, these are like my positions. I don't know where you want to start.
All right, but okay. So, what are your thoughts on Israeli propaganda, otherwise known as Hasbara? They have spent. They say they spend 40 million, but I think they spend more in a year to disseminate disinformation and propaganda to make Israel look good. For example, the IDF hotties or toddies, you want to call them, on TikTok, thirst-trapping young men into supporting Israel, where Israel gives free trip to celebrities like Bobby Lee. He said, you know Bobby Lee, right?
Bobby Lee, yeah, the podcast guy, right? The
Yeah, the
Asian
comedian.
guy.
He
Yeah.
was like, from Mad TV and
Yes.
etc. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was
Yeah. I know.
like,
Yep.
the Israelis, they invite you over and then they say like, come on over. And then once you get there, they give you all these, free stuff and etc. And then they say, hey, look, write good stuff about Israel and say how much you got a good time and that Israel is, there's a burgeoning democracy. Israel is such a safe place, blah, 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 blah. Basically, hype them up. So why would they
How do I?
do that? Or even sending people as far away as as New Zealand to propaganda as a Maori. So if you're such a good guy, and if you had nothing to hide, why would you spend all that money and to just like bribing people and saying, hey, look, I'm such a good guy. If you're a good guy, people just know you're a good guy. Why would you pay people to tell other people they're a good guy?
Do you drink any soda?
Uh, yeah, why?
Do you think that Coca-Cola is a good soda?
I mean, it's not a bad soda. Why?
Why do they spend any money advertising if everybody already knows about or likes or doesn't like Coca-Cola?
No, but it's not the same thing though. Like, so you're telling people to tell, like, so it is different if you're a country and
Is
you're
it?
just, yeah,
I
of
mean, I think
course.
people have like public opinions about countries all the time. I think countries do whatever they can to try to make people think of the country better, whether that's presidents or prime ministers speaking, whether that's I feel like there's like a www.visit whatever country. Like I bet if we go to visitnewzealand.com or visitmexico.com or visit the US.com, like yeah, people engage in these kind of like, oh, like look at our country, we're doing our best kind of things all the time. As long as they're not doing anything illegal and as long as everything is like above board. Like if Israel wants to, market to people on TikTok and say, hey, can you do an ad for our country
No,
doing
but this is
whatever?
the
As long as like
military
clearly
though.
say the
So
thing.
I'm just saying this is the military though. This is IDF, like what do you call it? So basically, for example, the Saudis, they invaded Yemen and etc. and did a lot of fucked up shit, local war crimes and etc. But they don't, what do you call it? For example, have like this is such bullshit like in propaganda. They put like a young Yemeni boy and like the Saudi army is building a well for him and he's drinking from the water. It's like, that is very good. Thank you, Bill Sandman. But like I mean, I've seen like videos of I don't know of IDF people. Excuse me. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, so I've
No, I
seen.
mean, I feel like I'm pretty sure like every country's army has like advertisements. I mean, as long as I mean, as
No,
again, as long
look,
as nobody's
this is like straight up propaganda. Those, for
what
example,
does
like
propaganda? What does propaganda mean to you?
propaganda means to me that what you call it. Propaganda means to me. Propaganda means to me like to inveigle, to obfuscate the truth, and
Okay.
to to manufacture consent, as Noam Chomsky used to say.
Sure. So I think that well he would probably still say that. He's not dead yet. I would say that the propaganda is like showing something in a good light. I don't think it necessarily has to be dishonest. In places where propaganda is dishonest, or if we argue that they're engaging in disinformation, I would disagree with that. I don't think disinformation is good. But in terms of in
So yeah,
terms of
this
like
is this,
people,
but
yeah.
like you do think this is disinformation. So for example, okay, let me give you some disinformation. I would say so. Let me tell you what they did and tell me if it's good, if it's propaganda or if it's disinformation. What it is. For example, okay, so there's one of them was like a gay Israeli soldier in the middle of Gaza saying we
Mm-hmm.
are liberating you. So basically, it's showing the world that Israel is pro-LGBTQ and they're freeing the gays or something in Gaza. I don't know what it's showing, but it sounds idiotic. I mean, it looks idiotic to me, and it's straight up propaganda. And basically, so just gay guys showing gay Israeli soldiers showing the gay flag in Gaza. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, like, it is what it is. They're trying to, I don't know, maybe Israel feels like they do better when it comes to human rights on LGBT issues, and they want to counter all of the people in the West saying we're gays for Gaza when they feel like their civil
But you
rights
don't
would
think
probably
it's
be.
pinkwashing though of their if it's pinkwashing of of
Sure,
the
we can call it pink wash, we
decimation.
can call it whatever you want. Yeah, if you're gonna fight with me on the idea that like this is bad, I don't think I agree. People are gonna advertise and try to showcase their particular fight, their particular struggle the best they can. The Palestinians do it, Hamas does it, Israel does it, the IDF does it, the United States does it. You know, communists did it, capitalists did it. Yeah, everybody does this. I mean, as long as everything is legal and as long as people aren't blatantly lying about things, then I generally don't have a problem with it. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that Israel's trying to show their side in a good light with, you know, civil rights propaganda or whatever compared to, you know, an Islamist party. I don't think it's hard to do. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they are doing that. But yeah, I'm not going to have any huge moral qualms with it. We can say that like it's unethical that anybody would be positively advertising themselves so much, but everybody around the world is doing it. You've got to compete with the other people that are advertising themselves, right?
No, but I'm just saying you have to be genuine. If you're a genuine person, you don't have to lie to people. You know, you like basically this. What I'm saying, this is a lie. This is disinformation. This is a lie. So like basically, if you're a good person to begin with, you know, if
Mm-hmm.
you're what do you call it, a good moral country, that you wouldn't have to what do you call it, I don't know, prostitute your female soldiers. Like have them pay them to shake their asses on TikTok and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Or like sort of decimation to what you call to inveigle to obfuscate the decimation you have created, like basically all the blown up stuff, like take out a gay soldier and put up the gay flags that we're liberating the gays, even though after all the destruction that you caused. So so it's pinkwashing the death and destruction you cause and trying to what you call paint that as a positive light. So you come in there, you destroy stuff, you fuck shit up, and you kill people, and then you come up and say, oh look, hey look, I'm feeding a goat. Like I've seen one of them, like what do you call it? I don't know, it was a baby goat or some animal. Anyway, it was some
Mm-hmm.
animal. It's like, oh look how good our soldiers are. They're showing like they're feeding a baby goat. They're so moral. Like so that like it feels icky to me. So that's what I'm saying. So like after all that,
I understand. I understand that it can feel icky to you, but the United States Air Force is the largest air force in the world. The United
Mhm,
States Air Force is. The U.S. Army Aviation Branch is number 2, and I'm pretty
mhm.
sure 4th is the United States Navy Air Forces. We have the top 4. We have the top 3. Of the top 4, 3 of those are U.S. Air Forces in terms of like power. But the United States military will still pay people like Tom Cruise to make borderline propaganda movies like Top Gun 2. Just because an Air Force is good, like, do you think that people think the U.S. Air Force isn't strong? I don't buy the idea that just because you're advertising for something necessarily means that you are actually doing the opposite of what you're advertising. That betrays every single thing we possibly know about advertising. If Coke was so good, why would they have to advertise showing it's good? People would just drink it. If you're such a good person, why would you have to publicly state that you donated to a charity? People would just know you're a good person. If you're a good country, why would you have to publicly show your armed forces doing something good? They would just know. Like, that's just how any part of the world we understand works. I don't know why we would apply a totally different lens of
Like,
analysis for
for
advertising
example, like
propaganda.
if I invite you to my house or you invite me to your house, and then after we have we have a party and etc. You force me or you pay me money to say, hey look, tell people I'm a good guy, I do this, or but instead of you do the opposite. What I see you doing some wrong stuff at the party.
Well, sure, but then the issue isn't the advertising. The issue is just the wrong stuff. We would just talk about the wrong stuff, right? We
Yeah,
wouldn't say
that's
it's
but that's what I'm
unethical
saying. So
for a
they're doing the
politician to
opposite.
buy. Yeah, then let's just talk about that. Like, there's nothing wrong with a politician advertising, political ads to show how good they are. They should do that. But if they're doing something contrary to the political ads, then we just talk about that. Oh, well, you shouldn't be doing this, so this is a bad thing. But it has nothing
Yeah,
to do
but
with the propaganda part or the advertising.
no, but you wouldn't do that much propaganda though if you're doing right to begin with though. You wouldn't
That's
have.
not true. There's a whole world that's invested in attacking the Israeli narrative. There's what, 60 plus Muslim majority countries that all make up part of the UN General Assembly.
But
You've got people like Syria that are heading the UN Human Rights Watch. You've got all sorts of international orgs that are highly invested in showing a negative side of Israel. I think they've got plenty of reason to feel like they might need to push out more positive messaging from their side, especially when international support is so important how you deal with problems and mitigate issues in this region.
okay, well, all right. Let me put on the other side as well. So if your enemy was so bad as well, well, you paint him as such a, what do you call it, as an evil monster as well. Like, so basically the other propaganda, the black propaganda I was talking about. Now, this is what do you call it? We're talking about the light propaganda before. Now, this is the black propaganda against the Palestinians. For example, I think one of the hilarious one was Isaac Herzog. I don't know if you've seen this propaganda that, he showed a book of Mein Kampf in Arabic. And he was saying, our soldiers found this on a dead Hamas guy in a children's bedroom.
Okay.
Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen the picture. Why do you think that's so unbelievable?
What do you mean? Okay, so no, because he's trying to portray like Hamas as Nazis, and because they're evil, and like what do you call it, they have hatred against the Israelis because they're reading Mein Kampf, and Mein Kampf. I don't know if you read it, or I've read a little bit of it in college, but it's not just about like hating Jews, but like there is a big part of it, but it's basically a white supremacist book. I wouldn't think what do you call it, Hamas would be like an Islamic organization would be what do you call it, getting their ideology from that and getting the what do you call it, the hatred from the Jews about that. They're getting their qualms or like or the
I mean, we can think that there wouldn't be. I mean, maybe that might be the case. That might not be the case. I mean, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Amin al-Husseini, I think in the 20s, literally had or it was in the 30s, I think, had a face-to-face meeting with Hitler. And this guy was like the de facto leader of the Muslim community in mandatory Palestine. So, I mean, even though he was the de facto leader of all these Arabs, he had no problem meeting with Hitler and talking to him. So the idea that Hamas, some 70, 80 years later would have books of Mein Kampf, that's not like completely unbelievable to me. It might have been fake. If it was fake, then I condemn it, obviously. No, but I don't think I would look at it and go like, oh my God, it's Mein Kampf. It's obviously fake. That doesn't make any sense, right?
No, but I didn't look the other part. A funny part. He was in a children's bedroom. So, but they're saying, putting the children, what they call it, the human shield narrative. So he was in a children's bedroom. The command center was in a children's bedroom. That's what they're saying. So okay, so let's say even though they commandeered the children's bedroom, were there children there when they're commandeering like a what do you call it, a child's bedroom?
I mean, I have no idea, but we see the programs that they show the children in the Gaza Strip. It wouldn't be that surprising to me that Mein Kampf might be some part of like them reading to a child as well. It seems kind of weird to me. I don't know if it was true or not. Again, if there's evidence to show that this was fake, I'd say, oh, well, obviously this is fake.
I mean, like the whole thing seems ridiculous to begin with. Like, so basically, like, you have all the evidence.
Wait, hold on, real quick. If you want to make an argument, that's fine. But when you say seems ridiculous, you're not making an argument. That's just like you think it seems ridiculous. It doesn't seem ridiculous at all to me. This is a group of people that broke into Israel using like 4 different means. Part of them coming in on like air gliders and decided to kill 1,200 people. None of that seems ridiculous that they might have a book relating to Mein Kampf, especially when Palestinians and leadership prior to the 48 war had an actual relationship with a leader guy who was meeting people like Goebbels and Hitler. That's not crazy to me at all,
Okay, going back to Goebbels and Hitler and al-Mufti, this is another black propaganda as well. This is what, tell me if you believe this or not, because there's a history that proves this, that, what's his name, Benjamin Netanyahu said that, this is what he said. He said, like, he recreated history. He said that the reason that that Hitler burned the Jews is because of al-Mufti. So basically, he was saying that he was making up the story that Hitler was talking to al-Mufti, and Hitler was saying, I want to kick out. He didn't want to burn the Jews first. Hitler. He didn't want to find a solution, and it was al-Mufti that told him that you should burn the Jews. Don't kick him out. And then they will come to Palestine, man. So you should burn them. So that's another black propaganda. So you like that, like the people know about.
I mean, I agree. To be clear, I agree that that's bad. It seems like everybody's like pretty invested in doing Hitler propaganda or Nazi propaganda. I don't agree with Netanyahu when he says that. I think it's pretty wild. But I mean, Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, literally has a PhD where he talks about the secret relationship between Nazism and Zionism. I mean, like he makes a bunch of insane historical Holocaust revisionist claims as well. So I mean,
yeah. But we are inundated though with Israeli propaganda. We're not inundated with about what you call Palestinian propaganda.
Well, it depends on who you say by we are inundated. In the West, we probably get more Israeli propaganda. I kind of believe with that. In the Arab world, they probably get more anti-Israeli propaganda.
No, I mean the whole world in general, because the Israelis have more money, have more what you call it, media moguls like Robert Maxwell. He's dead now, but
why don't they just go spend all the money in Iran and get those people to like Israel, so they stop funding people to attack him so much?
No, because they would see through their lies. I mean, because they're it is lies to begin with. So that al-Mufti.
So Iran is the only smart country in the world, and everybody else is wrong. Israel has enough money to buy the entire world off.
Well, I mean, number one, they can't they can't propagandize in Iran to begin with. But even if they did propagandize in Iran, people would see through their bullshit. But they can propagandize to us.
Well, do they
because
propagandize to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt, to Jordan, to Bahrain, to the UAE? Are they spending? How are they able to propagandize in some of these Arab countries and not other ones? Iran is the only smart one, or?
well, like to the propagandized was, I mean, like I don't know if they're propagandizing, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of backsheesh. I don't know if you like bribing going on. There's a lot of money going on because of the the Americans and etc. Because these are both friends within the Saudis, the Emiratis and etc. And I'm pretty sure, hey, look, this was the diplomatics work. This was a lot of bribing works that hey, look, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, so we can make this business deal. If you, so this was like a lot of the things going on there, but it's not what they call propaganda, is because um, the native population in general doesn't matter with even with the Abraham Accords and the elites coming together and shaking hands, the native population of all other Arab countries are with the Palestinians. It doesn't matter what the lies they put up.
I mean, Saudi Arabia has a GDP twice that of Israel. I'm unconvinced that Israel is propagandizing Saudi Arabia to change their entire position. Do you think that it might be like simpler? The simpler explanation might just be that maybe the Israeli narrative is a bit more truthful than the Arabic one?
No, but like I just told you that like the lies though, like that the Mufti, that it was the Palestinians' fault that the Jews were burnt in World War II. So I mean, like he's blaming like the final solution and the Holocaust on the Palestinians. That was Benjamin Netanyahu. So that is the black propaganda. So like that's what I'm trying to say. So
I agree with you, but you just gave an example of black propaganda that the Netanyahu doesn't spend money to convince other countries of that. That's just some stupid stuff that Netanyahu believes. I mean.
Yeah, but they do a lot of black propaganda to convince to their
enemies.
But
everybody does black propaganda. Literally everybody in the world tries to demonize their enemies. Ukraine's done it to Russia. Russia's done it to Ukraine. They called for the denazification of the whole country. The United States did it to countries when we were trying to back people to go and fight against the Soviets. Israel and Palestine do it to each other. Everybody does this. I don't like if you want to get into like specific bad things people have done or specific lies people have told. I think it's worth fighting about that. But this idea that like they spend money trying to convince people that they're good, or they spend money or resources trying to convince other people that their enemies are bad. This is like the history of the entire world. Everybody does this all the time.
No, but like just because everybody does it, come on, that's not a good argument. Like everybody.
No, that might not be a good argument, but yeah, we can't hold Israel uniquely responsible for it. That would be silly. Like
no,
if you want to,
Israel, we're talking about Israel and Palestine at this moment, right? So we're talking about like, so what I'm trying to convince you is that Israeli is what do you call it, is the wrong party here, because like if they were the good party here, they wouldn't like because for example, they're losing the propaganda war against Palestinians, even though they spend more money. They have more media like a representative. They do like the IDF TikTok toddies, all sorts of stuff. They like the movies, like Sky News Australia, Douglas Murray, like I can name hundreds of people. I'm pretty sure that they are like pro-Israel. They're probably like in the paybook by Israel and etc. And all the black propaganda too, like they say 40 beheaded babies. Like they were cutting women up and like and then shooting the dead. I mean, like it was ridiculous. They were baking.
Everybody engages in a little. The 40 beheaded babies wasn't Israeli propaganda, but I mean, like the Palestinians lied. Hamas lied about the hospital being bombed by Israel. I mean, like I don't know.
That is nowhere near that. Like that like they accusing the Israelis of like butchering a baby out and then put it in a bullet in it. I mean, like like let's say a pregnant woman, like cutting open her stomach and then taking out the live baby and then putting a bullet to it. That is nowhere near. Or even.
Well, wait, do you think that was that proven to be fake, or do we know that that's not true?
Come on, of course that's not true, man.
Why do you say of course that's not true?
So you do believe that like that what do you call it, that Hamas are evil incarnate?
I believe it's a pretty evil organization. A lot of the people that belong to it are horrible human beings. Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got enough videos to see that. We've got videos of people carrying screaming women off to villages, of that woman being driven around in the back of that truck with everybody cheering and spitting on her. Like, so yeah, it doesn't really take much more to convince me of that. Like, yeah, of course.
I mean, there's plenty of videos of also Israelis like mutilating like dead Palestinians, or like shooting like Palestinians like what do you call point blank execution style as well.
Yeah, and if there are videos of Israelis doing that, I can very easily say I would disagree with that too. I think those people should be held accountable and responsible. Yeah, then I think
I'm saying there is though. Yeah. But like there is, but like we're not propaganda, and there is, and like it's plain sight for everybody to see. But on the other hand, though, like they're portraying like that irredeemable evil, like these are Nazis. So that's what I'm trying to say. So they're trying.
Well, Hamas as an organization is different than Israel as an organization. Hamas shouldn't exist. That entire organization should be torn asunder and cast into the past. Like, yeah, there's no place for that in a modern world. I think Israel's government, being a democratic parliament, I think having responsiveness to public opinion, everything, I think is much better than the Islamist Sunni extremist party of Hamas. Of course, yeah, I would say that these two things are, one is significantly worse than the other and beyond redemption.
All right. So, what do you call it? So okay. So you're criticizing because they're Muslim and Muslim extremists. Why don't you criticize Israel for the Zionism extremism?
I'm not criticizing anybody for being Muslim extremists. I'm criticizing them for being Islamist. That they want to erect a theocratic Muslim regime.
What do you think Israel is, man? What do you think Israel is? It is a it is an ethno-nationalistic.
Hold on, there's a lot of words. Ethno-nationalist, arguably, sure. Theocratic, absolutely not.
What is Zionism?
Democracy.
What is Zionism?
Zionism is the idea that Jewish people ought to have a state.
What is Judaism? Judaism is a religion, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, it's tied with religion, exactly. So it is very religious based. Zionism is very religious based. It goes more ethnically because what do you call it? It's confusing, but anyway, but like it goes more.
I'm sorry. What does theocratic mean to you? Let's get onto the same page here.
Religiously or religious authority.
Correct. In Israel, and I could be wrong. Maybe I missed this. In Israel, is there like a Abraham figure that is like anointed as the leader, or do they have elections where they elect people as part of parliament, and then parliament elects a prime minister? Which one is this?
But it's in but it's in its backbone though. Like basically, that's just the front. There is a big, like, I mean, the whole thing is founded on Judaic principles. So the whole thing is like, we are here 3,000 years ago, Kingdom of Solomon, etc. That is all religious based. There's no historical proofs that Vladimir from Moscow, his family came from Israel or Tel Aviv or whatever, or from Jerusalem or whatever. That is all religious based. That's all like Torah based. And like the Holy Wall and etc. That is all Torah based. So that is what Zionism. That's why they came over there. That is all. That's Torah
fine.
Based.
That was a great story, but
exactly.
The government of Israel is a secular democracy. It is not a theocratic.
But why would they all go over there if not for religious like what do you call it, based on the Torah? That even
but they didn't go over there. The early Zionist movements were secular as well. Those weren't religiously based either. It's because Jews around the world felt persecuted based on their ethnic background, so they decided to all go to Israel because they thought they could live there and not be persecuted.
Exactly. So those are the two crux of Zionism, like ethnic and religious. So basically, like they're secular, but they're also religious wise, like because
that's fine. And a lot of the early people that came to the United States and founded the United States were Christian, and we swear on the Bible, but the United States is a secular democracy. We're not a theocratic regime any more than Israel's a theocratic.
No, like very, very wrong, man. That's why I think you have it very wrong on the Israeli situation, because you keep forgetting that how virilely, not virilely, I wouldn't want to say that word, but like how much nationalistic and also theocratic they are, and also racist they are. Like these are not secular state. Israel is nowhere secular state like America or any other European country. These are heavily traumatized, number one, because of the World War II and what the Europeans put them through, which they retell that story to every young person that grows up, whether they come from European background, Ethiopian background, even though they are oppressed by white Israelis more, they tell them, everybody's gonna hate you, this is our history, we can get put in the gas chamber again. You keep putting that that argument that Israel is not going to get destroyed again. Israel is not a weak state. It has no this is not the time that it found itself in 1948 and etc. that it can be destroyed. But no, the propaganda they are told in Israel though is like, hey, look, you remember what happened in World War II? Remember what happened to death camps? Remember what happened this? People hate you because you're Jewish. People are trying to kill you and etc. And they build that fire, and also there's other fires as well of what they call.
Was any part of that though, of any of the things you just said, were any of those things not true?
Right now, are people trying to kill Jews just because they're Jewish? And
we're not talking about right now. We're talking about when Israel was founded in 48. Did that not come right after the Holocaust?
I know, but reliving the traumas. No, but they're telling them that that this thing is going to happen again.
After the first Arab-Israeli War in 48, after the second Arab-Israeli War in 56, after the Third Arab-Israeli War in '67. Every single time these happened, was there not a mass exodus of Jews from Arab-majority countries that were starting to run pogroms, that were starting to persecute Jewish people? Like, did this not happen? I don't know if where's the lie? I mean, if they're saying something that has happened and they're saying, hey, we need at least one state, okay, Muslims have like 100 of them, okay, we need at least one country where our people are safe because we feel like we're going to get fucking Holocausted again or something like that. Is that even necessarily wrong? Is that so crazy that somebody would say something like that? Like,
no, look, this is what I'm trying to say. Like Israel is right now. It's like somebody that's been traumatized, for example, like somebody that's been raped or somebody that's been what do you call it, mugged or etc. So and they see rape everywhere. So like so basically they're saying, oh look, like this guy's going to rape me, that guy's going to rape me, like just because like one very traumatic experience happened to me. And you're saying as well, and I'm saying as well, like that.
Well, to be clear, it wasn't one traumatic experience. It was like 4 different wars where Israel faced like the precipice of destruction.
Right? Exactly. So black people too. Like I mean, Jewish people are not the only ones. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen what happened. What do you call it? The new movie Killers of the Flower Moon, and what the white population in America did to the Native American population, and etc. So Jews are not the only ones. So basically, if a Jewish person, I mean, not a Jewish person, if a Native American person, came see you and like got frightened, you're going to, I don't know, stab him or anything like that after seeing that movie, I would say, yeah, you're overreacting, because like Steve is not going to do that to you.
Well, but there is an organization that lives in the Gaza Strip that pours rockets into Israel by the thousands every single year. And there are organizations around Israel, like Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, that want to destroy the country of Israel. And Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons. And I mean,
yeah, so because of like they've been colonized and what they call it by Europeans who use the Torah as their as their manifest destiny to claim the land, which is in theirs.
Okay, and, so what? Then you're just justifying the Israeli fear then.
I'm not saying no. Like
because you're saying that like they're settlers, they're colonialists, and they want to be removed from that area. So now you're saying, oh well, maybe they are right to be scared then, because people do want to remove them.
Okay, but okay, really, I'm trying to say that you're over exaggerating the fear, and so that is what that is keeping them from doing peace. So they're saying if we do peace, that the people are going to kill us, just like what happened. The people are going to put us in the death camps.
No, I don't think that's true. I think if people
that's what people believe. No, that's what.
No, I think if people, that's not true. If people give peace to Israel, I think they generally accept peace.
No, I don't think so, because like you haven't seen the narrative. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
wait, hold on, wait. I literally have seen the narrative. In 1979, Israel pursued peace.
I'm talking about the rhetoric that is going on right now. The rhetoric.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm not talking about the rhetoric of the quotes or the statements. I'm saying historically in '79. Okay, Sadat was the same leader of Egypt that launched the surprise Yom Kippur War in '73. Israel signed peace with him. In '91, you had the Madrid Conference, and that led to a whole bunch of peace talks, one of which came to fruition in 1994. You had Jordan give peace to Israel. You've had the Abraham Accords, where other countries like Saudi Arabia is considering it. I believe Bahrain, I believe the UAE, like these other people are signing peace treaties with Israel. So when people offer peace, it seems to be the case that Israel follows through with it. The Palestinians don't seem to be willing to do that yet. But I mean, like historically, that's just the facts. I don't know, like we can debate like quotes or whatever, but
I mean, look, the West Bank, Yasser Arafat and the West Bank accepted peace. They recognize Israel. No, they recognize Israel. What do you mean? There was the Oslo Accord. They recognize Israel and they gave up their fight. There is no longer PLO fighting force. What's the PLO fighting for? What PLO fighting force is there?
Hold on. They didn't give up the fight because we literally had the second intifada after Camp David 7 years after the initiation of the Oslo.
That wasn't PLO, man. That wasn't the PLO.
Okay, you can first of all that there were plenty of different Palestinian organizations that took part in the second Intifada. Secondly, I'm just saying that to say that the Palestinians had given up the fight was clearly not
PLO.
True.
I'm talking about the PLO, one of the main resistance.
I'm not talking about the PLO. I'm talking about the Palestinians. The second Intifada was incredibly bloody. There was over 1,000 Israelis killed, and even more on the Palestinian side killed, and even more Palestinian collaborators killed by Palestinians or suspected collaborators. So the idea that they'd given up the fight in '93 because they signed the Oslo Accords was just not true.
No, but like the Yasser Arafat and the PLO did. Yasser Arafat recognized Israel. The PLO gave up its armed military wing, and then they said, "Okay, what do you call it?" But nothing happened though. Like the West Bank, they keep putting more settlers in there, and we see what the West Bank is right now. But I'm just saying. So
yeah, I understand. But I'm saying to say that Arafat gave up the fight doesn't make sense. At this point in time, I don't even believe the Oslo Accords had anything to do with Arafat. At that point, it was Rabin, and I'm pretty sure I think it was Abbas was the one that negotiated that. I don't even know.
No. Look, that was Arafat, my guy. That was Arafat, and then and the guy Yitzhak Rabin got murdered for it, for signing a peace deal by his own people, for saying, "Oh, look, you're talking peace. Fuck you, man, die." And they got killed by his so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you're not, you're forgetting the extremist Israeli part. So the Zionistic part that don't want to negotiate peace. They are making songs like Charbu Darbu about, like, killing, which is #1 rap song actually in Israel, making Charbu Darbu while killing what do you call it, even Dua Lipa and Mia Khalifa, just because they support Palestinians, and, like, say we're gonna put a bullet in your head. So I mean, like, it's ridiculous. So, like, I mean, like, the vitriol that comes from these people, the what do you call it, the extremist right wing of Zionism, you don't seem to criticize that. You seem to just criticize.
I
the
literally
Islamic...
did criticize. I said I
No, no,
disagree
no,
with
no,
the
no.
settlements. I think the majority of those should be taken down.
No, you don't. You seem to believe that Israelis are democratic state and secular state,
Well,
like
they are
us.
by definition, yes.
No. By definition, no. But in reality, it's an apartheid state with a virile and disgusting, what do you call it, extreme right wing, ethno-nationalistic, and somewhat theocratic like state, which is like, and you seen, like, what do you call it, Itamar, like, was Itamar Ben Gvir. He said, if we sign a peace, like, if you're going to do a, like, what do you call it, a peace deal or a ceasefire, fuck you, we're going to dissolve the government. That's what, like, the right wing said. And what do you call it? There's also, well, you heard as well, even like the guys that work for us. What's that guy, like, Stuart something? He was the Barack Obama aide for the Middle East, a Jewish guy. Well, probably also a Zionist. Come out like 4,000 Israeli children. Yeah, I mean 4,000 like Palestinian children. Oh, we should kill more. And like keep going back and attacking the kebab guy over and over again, saying racist stuff to him. You seen that video, right?
No, I haven't seen the YouTube video.
You should check
what do
it
you
out.
think is the what do you think is the path forward to peace, I guess, between these two countries? What do you think is the way forward?
Well, like, I mean, like, one of the main ways forward is, like, is to call out, what do you call it, that Israel is not a, what do you call it, they're not a democratic state, and to call them out on their racist Zionistic ways, because there's even, like, what a football club saying, yes, we are racist, and we like it, and we know it. Like, I mean, so you're talking about a very racist country that has, and nobody, like, calls them out on it. Just people just calls out, oh, Hamas this, Hamas that. But, and the Palestinians, that's all right, fine, call them out if, like, like, if they're saying racist thing, saying anti-Semitic things and etc. But nobody's calling out Israel on its discussing racist stuff, like, they're talking about, like, wiping out these people, Amalek, calling them Amalek, which is like in the Torah, which is basically saying that you should kill every single. I mean, that's what the Torah says. Like, God tells, like, the Israelites.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's, like, in terms of, like, negotiating, like, a real lasting peace or solution. What is the way forward? I don't think just saying Israel is racist is the way forward. What is, like, the solution? What is the peace progress?
Yeah, but
what is peace progress? We do. Nobody has problems calling out Israel when they act improperly.
No, I mean, like, in the greater world, in the Western world, no. I mean,
okay, well, here, I'm curious. Let's try it right now. Okay, so I think when the IDF or when Israel kills people, when it's not justified, I think that's a really bad thing. I don't think that should ever happen. I think that the settlements in the West Bank are wrong. I condemn the settlements. I don't think those should have happened either, and those probably need to be pulled back quite a bit for any sort of negotiated peace. How do you feel about the October 7th attacks?
All right, now, okay, like, look, we're now going to go back to October 7th. All right, like, I tell you, okay, I don't feel good about the October 7th attack. I think they were disgusting. I think they were deplorable. Okay, let's give it that. Given that, though, like, we're not going to go, like, I'm not, I don't also support the black propaganda trying to, what they call it, irredeemably demonize what they call the Palestinian people, so they can ethnically cleanse them by saying, oh, they were putting.
Do you see how easy it was for me to condemn, like, bad Israeli actions without giving any qualifiers?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try. Let me try this. Let me do what you just did, okay? So I condemn the Israeli settlements, but I can understand them wanting to expand more.
Do you condemn Zionism?
Because of all
do you condemn racist Zionism?
I don't condemn Zionism. No. Do I condemn racism? Sure.
No, but like you command, like, you condemn the racist, what do you call it, the Zionistic views that the Israelis have about the Palestinians. And
I don't condemn Zionism. No, I think that's dumb.
But like,
I condemn racism. If people are racist, I think it's dumb.
But like, but using Zionism as a, what do you call it, as a tool.
I don't condemn Zionism. I condemn racism. If you want to talk about racism or particular actions.
Okay, all right. Let's moving forward, though. All right, drawing parallels with apartheid South Africa and the border wars, where 23 years and some months South Africa have been fighting Angola, Namibia, Mozambique, Zambia, I think another country as well, in Zimbabwe, in a counterinsurgency war to protect, this apartheid system. And where, like, people even from all the way from Cuba also came from, so to fight with the black people and etc. What do you think that, but that all ended once apartheid is over and once, South Africa conceded. Not when, the war didn't stop when they killed all the MPLA, all the, ANC, all the, insurgent black people. That's not when the war stopped. That when peace happened in South Africa and the border wars in this region, because that was like a fucked up, part of history where, in 23 years, that apartheid state fought against what, so-called terrorists, like we call them freedom fighters who are trying to liberate their country from, white minority rule. And
okay, hold on. I don't know where we're at right now. I'm asking very clearly. What do we need to do to advance peace in the region? What's like the steps
no,
forward?
but let me ask you though. Okay, so so I'm asking you though. So in that scenario, in a real historically scenario, right? In South Africa, yeah, peace came when the apartheid, when the racist and the most military powerful as well, of the two parts, in the region, in the whole region actually, not just not just South Africa, in Zambia, Namibia, Angola, all of it, peace happened when South Africa gave up apartheid and when South Africa made peace with the people you call terrorists, not when they killed all the terrorists.
South Africa. Are you comparing the ANC to Hamas?
No, I'm comparing South Africa to apartheid Israel. Actually, probably even worse than apartheid Israel, because even even people that lived in apartheid South Africa came to Israel, saw what was happening there, and said this is even worse than what we faced.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
That is true. That is what they say. That's not what I said. That's what they said.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know how I'm supposed to engage with that. What is the path forward to peace?
No, but I'm trying to tell you though. So so the path forward to peace is when the apartheid state, is when you negotiate with the terrorists, and with
sure. So the apartheid state ending. What is the how does that end? Where's that going to come from? How are we going to get there?
Well, look, by same thing that will happen in South Africa, by embargoes, by telling them no more weapons, $3 billion.
Yeah, but I mean, what is the solution? Is it a one-state solution, a two-state solution, a three-state solution? What is the
whatever solution that would happen after that? After we after we hold the Israelis responsible, like we did to the South African government, we hold them responsible. We tell them, hey, look, you're a racist country. You're apartheidist. What you're doing is disgusting.
Okay, we do that every year when the UN General Assembly passes another resolution.
No, but the American government still keeps giving $3 billion, and which is the most powerful country, the empire, and keeps giving $3 billion to Israel every year. Keeps telling they're our best friends in the Middle East, our best buddies, and so that is not happening. I mean, hell, even Germany's trying kicking out people for just for criticizing Israel. So. I mean, so that's what I'm trying to say. So it's the South African way is the way to end the South African way, and also what they call the Northern Irish way as well, because when the Good Friday Agreement, when you negotiated with terrorists, they what they call Bill Clinton negotiated with Jerry Adams and other IRA people, and so did Tony Blair as well. So you negotiate with terrorists, and that's how the peace comes. And when it's not by killing all the terrorists that peace comes. It happened in South Africa. It happened in Northern Ireland. It happened with the ETA in Spain, and I think
can't. So I don't know all the comparisons that you're making because I just don't know the history. But I don't think the comparison to the ANC in South Africa is good though. Do you know how many civilians the ANC killed, in all of their decades of operation?
And and South Africa didn't bomb its own population either, like they're doing right now in Palestine. So that's what I'm trying to say.
The ANC killed 70 people. It was 70 civilians.
Well, exactly, and I'm pretty sure and even though the South African apartheid government tortured people and threw people out of helicopters.
I'm just
saying though, even though they did that, people say right now that Israel is even worse than South African apartheid state. So that's what I'm trying to say. So so one, you're saying, okay, Hamas is even worse than ANC, but I'm trying to say, Israel is even worse than apartheid South Africa.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I disagree, but
okay, but I'm trying to tell you though, so it happened many times in history, even with Colombia as well. So four things in history. I mean, 4 places in history. Okay, so South Africa, ETA in Spain, FARC in Colombia, and Northern Ireland problem. All negotiate with terrorists. All say, okay, we can whatever, call it appeasement, whatever. You have grievances. The people have grievances. The ethnic minority have grievances, and we should negotiate and see how we can do with peace. and bring on peace into this country, not by killing terrorists and not by blowing shit up, not by more military force, not by the iron wall as as Israel did. So that is the way the way forward to peace. Do you agree on that? Yes or no? Or do you think we should just more bombing?
No, I think that the way forward to peace is probably the Palestinians coming to the table with hopefully Iran and trying to renegotiate a two-state solution that involves Hamas being completely removed from power and, yeah, some sort of mutual agreement or recognition between Israel and the Palestinian states. I also think the terrorist attacks from Palestine need to stop too.
What about the terrorist attacks of the settlers?
Yeah, and those also need to be stopped, and those people need to be held accountable when they do crimes as well. Yeah.
Okay. And so basically, but you don't believe that Israel is the one to move forward and stop the apartheid, though.
Israel won't move forward. There's no reason for them to. Not while the Gaza Strip
is
throwing rockets at Israel on a daily basis.
So you see, like in history, that it's when the when the apartheid state or when the majority government that is like butchering the terrorists or like the minorities. That's when they come and try to negotiate and see those people.
Can you give me an example in history where a majority government has tried to negotiate with a minority terrorist entity that exists within its state that's being supplied or supported by several other states in the region?
Northern Ireland, South Africa.
Okay, so I don't know anything about Northern Ireland. So
yeah, Gaddafi was supporting the IRA.
So how many were there other countries that were supporting Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland that were constantly trying to invade and take over Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland?
Yeah, like the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
And I mean, but who's invading and like right now, as it is right now? I'm not talking on the 1948, as it is right now. Okay. Well, like nobody's trying to invade. Like, well, nobody has like the guts or like or the military power to invade Israel.
Did anybody try? I was asking. So there is no comparison historically to Israel, right?
No, South Africa. Ireland okay, South Africa. Maybe.
Okay,
South
I'm sorry.
Africa.
So tell me, I don't know much about South Africa or African history. Was Mozambique sending troops to South Africa to invade and take it over?
Yeah, guerrillas.
I didn't ask for guerrillas. I said whole countries, not 100 fighters, not 200 fighters, but whole country militaries.
These are the military fighters of that country. So they would send whatever they can to fight that country. These are the military fighters of that country.
Okay, so there is no comparison in South Africa where all of the neighboring countries are trying to invade and destroy South Africa, was there?
All of it, all of Africa was against South Africa, for crying out loud. All of Africa, all the way from
all Egypt. Of Africa. So Uganda's military was sailing south down the
no, they couldn't do that. But I'm just saying, though, all of them, whatever they could do with money wise, with propaganda wise, they were all against South Africa.
I'm not talking money or it wasn't just money and propaganda that was against Israel. It was the armies of Egypt. It was the armies of Iraq and Lebanon and Syria and Jordan.
There was no army of Lebanon that invaded Israel. Let's forget about that. Anyway, that's
no, but right now it's Hezbollah, but it was the armies of Egypt. It was the armies of Jordan. It was the armies of Syria, and it was with support.
Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, not an army. Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, like not an army.
Hold on. I'm saying historically, the countries of Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia all stood behind each other to invade and fight with Israel.
Saudi Arabia didn't invade either. Neither did Iraq.
I didn't say invade. They also sent supplies and helps.
Same as well, like same in Africa as well. Same as for South Africa.
Sorry. Okay. Let's just do this one, and then you got me. Okay, if I can think of it. Okay. In Israel, the armies, the ground armies, and the air forces of Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, those countries attacked Israel. Okay, with support from other countries. In the case of South Africa. Was Botswana, Namibia, I think, right? Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Were there armies marching south to South Africa? They
didn't have armies, so like they didn't have armies to do that.
Okay, so it wasn't comparable then. Okay, that's great. That's all I want to know. Okay.
Either ways as well, like in the Israeli situation, it wasn't comfortable either because Israel was a modern military state at that time, even compared to those whatever few weapons or whatever they had.
I'm sorry, few weapons. Egypt didn't have rifles. Jordan didn't have tanks. Syria didn't have planes.
They were far more technologically advanced than whatever backwards technology that the Egyptians or the Syrians have. It wasn't comparable. That's why they lost. Technology.
They were getting weapons and armor from the Soviets. You say they had backwards arms. In 48, Israel was fighting with supplies that they'd smuggled in from Czechoslovakia. Last time I checked, Czechoslovakia wasn't being armed by the United States, were they? So I mean, the idea that Israel, where's all the modern?
Forget about it. Look, the only reason Israel survived in those two wars, number one, is by the support of the West. And
no, they did. Wait. What support did Israel have from the West in 48?
What do you mean? Like, I'm pretty sure they founded the states. Britain gave them the states, number one. And number two, I'm pretty sure
No, they didn't. Hold on. Jewish people bought that. Zionists bought that land. They purchased it with their money. Britain didn't give them anything. In fact, Britain tried to curb the immigration and they cut off all supplies.
No, in 1948, they approved it. Like, they like what do you call what it was France. Every one of them like signed it. They were pro-Jewish. And whenever the Arabs attacked as well, like they give them weapons. Like, and also, what you call it? Like, I'm pretty sure they threatened the Arab countries as well, like to stand down, or else they would attack and they would help out Israel as well.
That is absolutely not true. If that was the case, then why were they able to invade and take so much land? Jordan invaded the West Bank, they conquered that. Egypt invaded Gaza Strip, they conquered that. Lebanon and Syria,
6 days war, like 6 days war, like everything ended in 6 days. Like I mean.
Oh, why did it end in 6 days?
Because of political machinations, and also because they were losing as well. Like, I mean, and then Israel has superior firepower.
Israel had super amazing firepower. I don't think Israel had super amazing firepower. I just think that the Arab armies were just not as good at conducting war.
Yeah, because what do you call it? Israel, like because most of them are Europeans, and they had like what do you call European training and etc. as well. Like there's a whole lot of things.
The Jordanian army literally had a British commander and leader before they engaged in the Arabization of the Jordan country, I think in the 50s. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, they had weapons and training and armament from the Soviet Union up to the 60s.
Why are we going back? Why are we going back though? So we're saying like, okay, like the move to peace, right? So the move to peace in the history have shown, I give you 4 examples, right?
Okay.
The best thing to do is to negotiate with the minorities, or whoever they be, and yeah, the best thing to do is to negotiate, like what the Colombians did with the FARC, which is like decades of warfare with the leftist with the leftist revolutionary movement, and now the FARC members are in parliament. So that's the way to do it. It's not by like demonizing and saying, oh, like these communists, these dogs, this, that only brings to bloodshed. Like so the best thing to do is to humanize your enemy, see what they want, and to make peace. And that's the best way to move forward. Is to negotiation, and not to give weapons, like $3 billion and extra weapons to Israel, not to blow up their neighbors, not to
What would the negotiations look like between Israel and Hamas? When Hamas has said they want the destruction of Israel, how are they negotiating? What is Israel going to offer?
Forget Hamas is a new thing anyway. Like, how many iterations of what they call Palestinian fighters have been? They've been Christian people.
Hold on, wait. What do you mean Hamas is a new thing? They've been in the Gaza Strip since at least 2005 as the ruling party.
I'm like saying, but Palestinians have been fighting Israel since its creation. Like, resistance has been going on, whether it was within Christian Palestinians with the PFLP, whether it's leftists and the communist leaders like the PLO and etc. And whether even like Druze people have fought against Israel.
So tell me what does Israel need to negotiate with? What do they need to offer?
They need to stop, number one, like their manifest destiny, theocratic, that this land is ours and God give it to us. It belongs to the Jews and fuck everybody else. God gave it. Like, so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is the kind of mentality they have. So like say God gave this land to us. So the manifest destiny, get the fuck out of our land. This only would lead to one thing, which is the extermination of the Palestinian people. So they need to give up that that's not fantasy, but like that mythology of that manifest destiny of Israel is going to do, and say.
I don't know about changing Israel's like core religious ideology for some of the Israeli citizens. Let's again concrete things. What do they need to offer? I don't believe they don't have a manifest destiny. It doesn't make any sense. I'm asking you, what do the Israelis need to offer the Palestinians, Hamas, to get them to come to the table?
They need to recognize them. They are human beings in the first place, and they're not evil incarnate, and that they can negotiate with them, and they have actual grievances of what happened. Not just the Hamas, just the Palestinian people in general, because what happened in the West Bank is an atrocity as well. Not just what happened in Gaza is even more of an atrocity, but what happened in Gaza, West Bank is also an atrocity. So all the Palestinian people, they need to recognize them as human beings, and they need to give up the manifest destiny that this is just a Jewish land and God gave this land to them, and Amiyash Israel and the Koch party, etc.
Okay, I guess that could be the start then. Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Are you in favor for Americans to go into fight and die for the sake of Zionism and Israel's security, like invade Iran or Lebanon to back Israel? Are you willing to die for that, or are you willing your son when he grows up to being drafted to fight and possibly die in the Middle East?
It depends on the war.
No, for Israel's sake, like, you know, so like, let's say, for example, like Lebanon invades Israel, Syria invades Israel, right? And also Iran invades Israel, right? So, and then you say, okay, so like if that is the case, America's supposed to America should supposed to send its troop to fight to protect Israel.
Sure, I think so, to defend Israel.
Yeah?
If Iran is actually invading on the ground, yeah, sure, I think we can defend them.
All right, so you're okay like to fight and die for that?
My kid isn't in the military.
I mean, like, you get drafted. I mean, like that's a big war, man.
That's a big enough war for us to get drafted?
Iran, Lebanon, Syria. Come on, man. Like, that's the whole Middle East, man. Like, I mean, that's at least the Shia Crescent. And then
no offense to those armies, but I'm pretty sure that's like 6 aircraft carriers and 2 weeks worth of work for the United States military. I don't think we're going to need to draft and send.
Oh, come on, man. Iraq was even 6 weeks worth of work, let alone like, you know, Iran and Syria and Lebanon together, man. That is not.
Had one of like the largest standing armies, I'm pretty sure, like in the entirety of the Middle East.
Yeah, but
did the United States draft for Iraq? Our last draft was in like 72.
Yeah, but we didn't draft it, but like it gave us a headache, and we didn't finish off the enemies when we started.
You think Iraq gave us a headache? Not the deposition of Saddam Hussein.
Maybe not Saddam Hussein, but the Shia militias that came in there and not took over, and then ISIS that came over, like, yeah, that gave us a headache, that's for sure.
Well, thankfully, we don't have to worry about that for Israel because there's already a secular democracy in place that would stand there and maintain the country.
Stop saying that about the secular democracy, but you know, that's what you see them. But yeah, okay, even like in lieu of them invading, you're okay with us, like, you know, doing a preemptive strike and don't invade Lebanon just to stop and then kick out, like, and die fighting Hezbollah to protect Israel?
A preemptive strike? I'm not sure. There would need to be a lot of justification for that.
Well, I mean, like, they're shooting rockets at Israel right now.
Well, if they're shooting rockets at Israel, that doesn't really sound like a preemptive strike. That sounds like a reactive strike.
Oh yeah, well, whatever is doing right now. Well, right now they're shooting at it. Like, so I think you think we should go in there in Lebanon and like fight Hezbollah? As Americans.
My understanding is right now the United States foreign policy, we don't really deploy stuff to fight on behalf of Israel like that because it would anger probably a lot of people in the region. So generally, I wouldn't be in favor of deploying any U.S. military personnel down there unless something extreme was happening.
Okay, so are you okay with doing all this, knowing that, you know, like a lot of our military hardware is being stolen by Israel and given to the Chinese?
Yep.
You're okay with that, even like, you know, even though Israel is betraying us and giving a lot of military weapon, a lot of military technology we're giving them, and they're selling it in the back door to the Chinese.
Yeah, I like China.
You're okay with that?
Sure. I don't know how much military hardware is Israel selling to China. Do you have a number on this?
I mean, how the hell would I know that? Like, I mean, that's. Well,
because you're the one that brought the claim up. I don't know. Did Israel sell one tank, or did they sell like $15 billion worth of arms to China?
No, they did. They sell military technology. So, like, you know, like rocket systems and etc. So this is like plans, like how the technology works. And
hold on. So now they're selling military technology.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I thought you made it sound like they were selling actual weapons and stuff.
No,
I don't know.
I'd
have to see like the. I'd have to see the. I'd have to see what's being sold. Is it legal? Is it illegal? I don't know what the agreements are.
Look, nobody knows like what is being sold. The spice stuff, man. But like they're selling the stuff. Like this, like you can read it in the military website actually, and they even spied on us, like, you know, multiple times as well with I don't know, Jonathan Pollard. I don't know if you know that guy.
Okay.
He was,
if Israel does shit like this, I probably wouldn't be okay with it. I think it's probably bad.
So, but you think we should still support them? Don't give them $3 billion and even fight and die for them, even though they're
sure. Ukraine misfired a missile, and I'm pretty sure it landed in like Russian territory. And they initially blamed Russia because they thought it was them. They fucked up. I still think we should support Ukraine.
But this is not a fuck up, man. This is like a betrayal, though. This is like betrayal. This is like we're giving them $3 billion, and this
Israel
is like
could betray us 7,000 times, and I would still support their right to exist in the Middle East over the Palestinian people. It's not even close.
Or like, so you don't support the Palestinian people to exist?
I don't support people that have historically been involved in plane hijackings and massacres in other countries, and doing intifadas and having Islamic jihadist like fundamentalist parties. Yeah, I don't support this type of stuff, and it seems like they've been a roadblock.
What about Sabra and Shatila? What about Sabra and Shatila?
I think that was really bad.
Yeah, but like Israel did that, so you just say you don't support countries that do that kind of stuff. There's plenty of stuff like that. Israel has done plenty of stuff like that. They bombed
plenty of stuff like that. I mean, I disagree with that particular thing. Obviously, I believe Dayan wasn't that when he was finally kicked out, and I know they had a commission on it. I mean, yeah, obviously, I disagree with that. I think it was.
And they even assassinated. Actually, I think it was probably the Israelis that assassinated the guy that went to UN the Lebanese guy. I think it was Eli Hobeika. He was about to go to the UN to do.
Sharon, not Dayan. Sorry. Like when Israel does bad things, I say Israel has done bad things and we shouldn't support bad things. That's not enough to completely pull
But
our
yeah, but like
support.
so, but like you keep saying, okay, like so Palestinians do bad things, so we shouldn't support Palestinians. But you say like Israel does bad things, but we still supporting Israeli though. Like so that's what
I think
where
there
the
is a
disconnect.
future where you can negotiate with Israel and have it like perform in a reasonable manner to secure peace in the region. I don't believe that's the case with people like Hamas.
No, but like but once they betray you, though, I mean, at least you should like take away the weapons or like
Well,
chastise
sure,
them.
then you sanction them or you punish them in some way. But
But
just because
America
somebody
doesn't do
betrays you
that.
once doesn't mean that you completely and totally pull out of everything. That doesn't make any sense.
That America hasn't done that, and you're not. You're still like
America hasn't done what? What do you mean? We spy on our allies. I was a big part of the Edward Snowden League. The United States has betrayed allies and done unfortunate things to allies a whole bunch of times. What do you mean?
Yeah, and I don't think we're like what they call our allies as well should like reprimand this for us as well. Like I mean, like
Do you think the allies should all turn their backs on us completely because we've lied or we've done bad things to them?
Yeah, for sure. Like
okay,
yeah.
I mean, I think people make mistakes, and you should obviously
Oh
punish
boy,
them accordingly
like
for it. But it doesn't
that
mean you totally support them.
Yeah, I think we have the, like two wrong definition about like two different definitions about what mistake is. Like like
I did it when I say mistake. I don't think they did it by accident. I mean, obviously they shouldn't do it. It was intentional. It was bad, but it was a mistake, and that they shouldn't be doing bad things to betray us. Obviously, so you punish them accordingly.
Yeah, but yeah. But that's what I'm trying to say, though. Like, you're not even saying like we should punish them accordingly, and like, not at least support them in a fight. Yeah.
You don't want me to say punish them accordingly. You want to say pull all support so that the Islamist party can win. That's two different things.
Okay, like, and another thing as well, like, the Islamist party is a new thing. Before that, most of the Middle East was secular, and the Palestinian resistance was secular as well. One of the first female, actually, like what they call suicide bombers against Israel, was a female Christian woman. Not, I don't think it was a first female, but first, not first suicide bomber, but first female suicide bomber was a Christian woman from Syria.
If historically the whole region was secular, why do they care so much about East Jerusalem?
It's not because it was like what they call it, because these were foreign invaders. These are not because
Stop.
not because
I'm asking
Jewish.
you specifically, why do they care specifically about the territory of East Jerusalem? What's special about that to just nationalist people with no religious ties whatsoever to anything?
Do you think Jamal Abdel Nasser or what do you call it? What's Bashar al-Assad's father? Fuck, I forgot his name. Well, whatever. Bashar al-Assad's father. Do you think those two people really give a fuck about like East Jerusalem or even what they call George Habash of the PFLP? Nobody, like those people didn't care that much. They cared about Jerusalem, of course, because they liked it, like it has what do you call it? A historical meaning for people.
Historical?
But yeah, historical, not just what do you call Islamic, not just
really?
Islamic. Yeah. Okay. For example, PFLP is Christian. George Habash and Wadi Haddad are both Christian. All right. So what does what do you call Al-Aqsa mean to those two Christian guys?
Well, I don't know what it means to them, but if the organization is largely functioning as a Muslim majority organization, and if Al-Aqsa is considered literally the third holiest site for Muslims across the world, and if East Jerusalem has been a pain point in every single negotiation that has ever happened between the Palestinians and Israel, it's probably because it's more than just like a cultural site, probably because it has some religious significance to them as well.
No. Look, like German, like what do you call it? German leftist revolution, like the RAF fought against Israel in that time with the.
I don't care I don't care about minority parties or smaller entities that fought against Israel. I'm saying that there is obviously a religious or a socio-religious tie to East Jerusalem. That's pretty. I've never heard somebody deny this. Where I can't even believe you would. It's literally the holiest site in Islam. It is literally Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's literally where Muhammad flew to heaven. Like, it's pretty easy to just say. Like, obviously, it's got some religious significance, right? It's one of the reasons why. It's one of the reasons why Hamas calls for global jihad against Jews in Israel to take back the land.
Why do you go like you say Hamas? Okay, like what I kept talking about PFLP, PLO, and the other groups that fought, like I don't know, Syrian Socialist Nationalist Party, all those other people that fought against Israel, and even what they call Jabal Abdel Nasser and etc. They didn't see that as a religious what they call opportunity. They were Baathists and etc. Baathists are not religious, what they call Islamic religious. These people that were Arab nationalistic, and most of them were like as well secularists. And
when you say Baathists were not religious, my understanding is that, like, for instance, in Iraq, the Ba'athist party was a secular party, but they were basically explicitly Sunni for the entirety of that organization. Is that not true? In Iraq, was not the Ba'athist party that was a secular party essentially Sunni in nature? Wasn't that part of the big disagreements that the Saddam Hussein's government had with a lot of the Shia majority that existed in that country?
Oh, no. I don't know about Iraq specifically, but that's not true everywhere, though.
Okay.
That's not true everywhere, but like, yeah, Ba'athist is Arab national. Like Jamal Abdel Nasser was not what he called. He imprisoned a lot of Muslim Brotherhood members. So I mean, like, so basically the resistance.
Well, because they tried to kill him, right?
Oh yeah, and like because they wanted an Islamic State.
Because they tried to kill him.
And because they wanted an Islamic State.
Pretty sure it was the trying to kill him that probably triggered him more than the wanting an Islamic State.
Well, I'm pretty. So you're saying, and it's what they call Christians are what they call it, even though PFLP, like what they call, is led by 2 Christian men, that they are like somewhat what they call undercover Muslims, or Syrian like Nationalist Socialist Party.
The PFLP was never a majority member of the entirety of the PLO or the Palestinian resistance against Israel. So I don't really care. The founding members of the PFLP were a couple of Christian men. It doesn't really change anything that's going on.
No, but like, do you
it's
think
an obvious diversion? Like the majority of Muslims, I don't even know why you would argue this point. Obviously, the majority of Muslims care about.
No, I would argue this point
it's a side of religious significance.
Because I would argue this point because the Palestinian fight is not an Islamic fight. It's not even a Muslim fight or even an Arabic fight. It's a humanistic fight because of what they call it. Because we don't do that kind of shit anymore. We don't do colonization anymore. We don't what they call it, displace people anymore. We don't what they call it, abuse or what they call it, native people like that anymore. And that is the reason. And that is why also like the Red Japanese Army or like Red Army faction, etc., fought with the Palestinians in the 1960s and the 70s.
Fought with the Palestinians. I'm pretty sure they weren't, like 3 of them were involved in one airport bombing. I don't think that the Japanese Red Army was sending a significant amount of troops to help.
No, but they were supporting them. They were like, of course, like because like come on, these are terrorist organizations. Like what they call? They didn't have that kind of firepower. But anyway, but they were in solidarity with the Palestinian what they call it, and also what happened in the what they call it, hostage situation in Entebbe. That was a lot of the Germans. So that was pretty significant.
Okay. I don't know what part of this is supposed to convince me of anything. What are you trying to get me to change my mind on right now?
That what do you call it? Okay, so I'm trying like this is like the black propaganda that what do you call it? The Palestinians hate the Israelis not because of what they did to them, not because of what they call it, of their foreign what they call colonizers and etc. But because they're Muslims, and as Muslims, like a Muslim is a bad religion, and Muslims are what they call it, violent people. They read the Quran, and the Quran said this, and the Quran said that. Even though there are plenty of Christians, plenty of what they call secularists, plenty of Christians that died fighting what they call it, plenty of Druze as well that fought that died fighting the Israelis, and etc. So that is also the false narrative that even Christians fought against Israel.
It is not a false narrative. You can point out that a few Christians, you can point out that people in Lebanon were involved in civil wars, or that people in Lebanon were fought. Like Druze also fight alongside Jewish people as well, and live alongside Jewish people as well. Like I don't know what the point of any of this is. The reality is that right now Islamic extremism seems to be pushing forth a lot of violence on the Palestinian side, whether we're talking about the Houthis, Hezbollah, or Hamas. Seems to be a big part of who supports the Palestinians right now. So of course,
but do you think people are scared what I'm trying to say though, but even if they were not Muslims though, if you treat people like dogs and like the inhumane ways you would treat like the Palestinians, they would rebel. And
they would maybe, but they wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, but it's still like to say that there's no part of it is Islamic extremism doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like when people blow themselves up as suicide bombers, they don't scream Allahu secular, right? Like no, but obviously there's a religious element to it, right?
So you're ignoring all what I said. Like I said, the first female bomber was a 16-year-old.
Why would I care about the very first female bomber?
But I mean, they're saying she was Christian though.
What about the majority of the suicide bombers?
Yeah, what about the majority of them are Christian? But like that, what do you call it? But
the majority of the suicide bombers that were involved in like the first and second Intifada were Christians?
No, but I'm trying to say that's a resistance, what do you call it, move though. For example, in the Tamil Tigers also use suicide bombing. These are nowhere near like the Middle East, man. The Tamil Tigers are, I don't even know what they are, but like I think they're Hindu. Yeah, I think they're Hindu. Yeah, the Tamil Tigers are Hindu, but they fought against the what do you call it, the Sinhalese government with suicide bombings. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, though. Like, these kind of things happen in certain places, not because certain body is Muslim, certain body is violent, or certain body is like that. No, has been seen with terrorist organizations across the world, why certain terrorist organizations do what they do. And
if we were to take an account of all the suicide bombers in the world, what percentage do you think would be Muslim?
Oh, for fuck's sakes, man. Okay, so it's like...
If we had to take an account of all the suicide bombers in the world, what percentage do you think would be Muslim?
Yeah, because there's a lot of there's a lot of wars in the Islamic countries right now. What is your point, though?
I'm just asking. What do you think the percentage would be?
I don't know. Like I can't say a percentage because I can't just.
You think it'd be more or less than 20%?
More? Why not? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, probably more or less than 50%. Probably more.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. You're pointing out that the first suicide bomber was Christian. I don't even know if that's true. The first suicide bomber was Christian.
Yes, like female Christian suicide bomber against the Israelis. Female Christian suicide bomber against Israel was a Christian woman. So my point is, though, this has been seen in resistance movements across the world. Like, it's not just an Islamic thing. It's like when you're all out of hope, when you're backed into the corner, when you're denied your humanity, and people are trying to crush your spirit, your identity, and etc. This is the extreme measures you take. So so that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
maybe do you think maybe if they stopped like suicide bombing and sending so many rockets into Israel, maybe stuff would change?
Well, like West Bank, nobody's sending that kind of stuff. So has things have changed in West Bank?
Well, what do you think is better right now, the West Bank or the Gaza Strip?
Neither.
Which one is currently blockaded or embargoed by Israel and doesn't allow supplies in and out of the country? Which one is harder to travel?
Would you rather die a slow, suffocating death, or would you rather die as a man on your feet?
I don't think there's much dying as a man when you go in and you kill a bunch of civilians. So I'm asking again, which place is doing better?
How many people have the Israelis have killed? I mean, like saying though. But anyway, all right, we're not going to go to that. But anyway,
So who's doing better right now, the Gaza Strip or the West Bank?
The Gaza Strip is doing better.
Oh, right. Well, I guess they should just keep fighting them. People like you are encouraging to do it, and then I guess the West Bank can turn into the Gaza Strip.
I'd rather they die fighting than than be slowly erased like the Native Americans that happened in
That's
in
fine.
America.
Then they can keep dying, and they can leave more fatherless children, and they can leave more wives widowed for the fifth or sixth time. Is that like a pastime?
So is it better
Gaza
for them
Strip
to
is
get
marrying their seventh husband that hasn't died in jihad? I mean,
is it better to get erased like the Native Americans in this country though? Like in America, is it better to get them like to the Native Americans? Is that okay to get erased, slowly erased like the Native Americans, or slowly get erased like the Aborigines and like I think they're like 1% of the population right now in Australia? Is that okay?
I don't know if I would compare invasions and colonialization from 400 years ago to today.
No, but they're doing it though. I mean, just saying though, they're still doing it though. That's why like
who's erasing the Palestinian population. The Palestinian population has grown by how much? Like it continues to grow. Is the population of Jewish people in the world is even above what it was before World War II yet?
How am I supposed to know?
Okay, the Israeli population, the Jewish population, hasn't even recovered since the Holocaust, and the Palestinian population continues to grow. So the idea that I don't think that
is true. I don't think that they haven't recovered since the Holocaust, man.
Okay.
But anyway. Point being said, just because they're not the Palestinians are putting up a resistance and they're fighting, and they're not slowly being they're not letting the Israeli just totally erase them, and they're putting up a good fight. That doesn't mean that the Israelis are not trying. Because if
the Israelis were trying, then Palestinians would be deleted.
No, they wouldn't. Like I mean, for example, first of all, they can't drop a nuclear bomb on their own borders.
They don't need to drop a nuclear bomb. They could just do like indiscriminate bombing, just blow them all up.
That's what they're doing right now. That's what they're doing right now.
No, they're not. If they were doing it right now, there'd be 500,000 dead instead of 20,000 dead.
I don't know what you call that, what they're doing right now, but it sure looks indiscriminate to me because every ambulance trunk, everything is terrorist right now because they even killed their own people. Actually, didn't you hear this? Like recently, they killed 3 Israeli hostages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think was more densely populated? Do you think Dresden or the Gaza Strip was more densely populated?
Are Palestinians Nazis that we compare them to to Dresden? What's the point of view? What are you talking about?
Do you think everybody in Dresden was a Nazi?
No, but is Palestine?
What was more densely populated, Tokyo or the Gaza Strip? Because these were indiscriminate bombings, and these are where you saw tens of thousands or 50,000 plus people killed in 1 to 2 days. No, so when you ask me, and these are with inferior weapons than what we have today or what Israel's access to today. So when you say they're indiscriminately bombing them, and I compare it to any other actual indiscriminate bombing in the past, which I believe Dresden, I believe the firebombing of Tokyo, I believe some of these larger air bombing campaigns were indiscriminate bombing. That's literally what they were. They flew over cities, they dropped a fuck ton of bombs, and they killed tens and tens of thousands of people in far less densely populated areas. Seems weird to say that there's an indiscriminate bombing happening right now in the Gaza Strip. That's what it seems to me. That's what I would.
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, no. Like, I mean, we have to check that out. Like, we have to check how much people died in Dresden in a month. How many people died in Tokyo fires? But at the end of the day, though.
Wait, what was your question? How many people died in Dresden in a month?
Yeah.
It wasn't 1 month. The Dresden bombings were 1 to 2 days, and the death toll for that was almost 25,000 in 2 days.
Well, I mean, like, what do you call it? Maybe they're dropping more bombs. Okay, I don't know what do you call the logistics of, but either way, so that does you cannot what do you call it, compare Dresden and Tokyo, which are fighting the imperial like Japan and Nazi Germany, which two world military powers.
I never said we're there. I understand the world military. I was just pushing back your claim that there was indiscriminate bombing. Okay. Indiscriminate bombing doesn't seem to match very well. When you talk about the firebombing of Tokyo, over the totality of all the Tokyo bombings, it was like 130,000 people were killed. I think more than both atomic bombs combined.
What are you talking about? It's still fucked up. In modern days, for example, that those are not what do you call it? Like we're not fighting. They're not fighting Nazi Germany, or they're not fighting what do you call it, Imperial Tokyo. Exactly, but like so to do that to people that they have like what do you call it, or like stranglehold it for about like I don't know 70-something years. Like it is fucked up. Like, you know, to do that to people, like you've been strangleholding, you have starved, you have what do you call it, humiliated for all those years, to do that to them again and then say, oh, like comparing them to Nazis and etc.
I'm not comparing anybody to Nazis. I was just pushing back the claim that there was indiscriminate bombing.
Not you, but I just said though, like, you know, that's what Israel does. Like, you know, they compare them to Nazi, what do you call it? They're comparing them to ISIS. They're comparing them to Amalek, which is like, you know, like all the evils you can think about.
Okay. What else?
Okay, so do you believe that Hamas and the Palestinians are the new Nazis? As many Israelis or even U.S. Congressman Brian Mast called the Palestinians Arab Nazis, and the hilarious music video, I mean, no, the hilarious Isaac Herzog president produced an Arabic copy of Mein Kampf.
I don't think the current Palestinians or Sunni extremism or Islamism has anything to do with Nazism. No, I think that's dumb.
Okay. Okay, so like this is a good one. With the recent massive censoring and cancellation of many Palestinian supporters we have seen with Susan Sarandon being let go by her agency that represented her, we have seen Harvard students being doxxed as companies coming out and saying they would lose their internship and would never be hired by the companies because they support Palestine, because hence they are anti-Semitic and want to genocide the Jews. We have even the defense minister of Israel chiming in and lecturing universities and telling them that chanting from the river to the sea is not a free speech and is a hate speech and should be treated as such. And in Germany, which is the most extreme case, we have seen the government coming out and saying that criticizing Israel can risk you getting deported out of the country. And in Congress, they have put a law that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Do you agree with all these harsh methods, yes or no? And do you believe that people have the right to criticize Israel and Zionism without being called anti-Semites, lose their jobs, get deported out of the country, and etc.?
In what, the United States?
Any country, any Western country.
I can't speak for any country because I don't know.
Come on, we live in a Western democracy. Like, come on, we live in Western.
Doesn't matter. You've got dramatically different freedom of speech laws depending on where you are. In the United States, I don't think you should ever be in trouble.
Destiny. I'm not asking you about the laws. I'm talking what is right and wrong. You know, it's not about
what is right and wrong is going to be in accordance with the particular laws you have. I think everybody should be able to eat pork and beef, but I wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia or India and tell you what you should be allowed to eat. I mean, I can only speak for laws in the United States. I think generally speaking, you should be allowed to criticize other countries. That's a pretty important freedom to me. I think you should be allowed to criticize Israel. I also think you should be allowed to call people the N-word or go out and make the Nazi salute if you want as well. But in a lot of Europe, those things are illegal too. So I don't know. When you ask me as an American, I give you the perspective on my laws. But when you talk about like laws and the right to criticize certain countries, I mean, I don't know what the laws in a lot of European countries are like or why they're structured the way they are. I can only tell you from the perspective of an American.
Okay, Anglo-Saxon countries. Okay, so which is.
I'm going to be totally honest. I don't even know what Anglo-Saxon means other than like British. I don't know what.
Well, like, you know, the descendants of the Anglo-Saxon, which is America, Canada, UK, and Scotland, and what do you call it? Australia.
I can't speak. For instance, I don't agree with the UK's. I think that their slander and defamation laws are insane. I also think that the hate speech laws that exist in the United Kingdom are insane. But that's their country. If they want to run that the way that they want to run that, that's up to them. I'm not here to speak for. I'm not here to complain about British freedom of speech laws. It's just not in my place to do so. I'm an American.
Okay. Like we're talking about like what Israel and Palestine, which is like it's totally different from any Western countries. But you know, we're talking about that what is right and wrong. So it's not about the laws. It's about like if slavery is happening somewhere across the world, I don't even know where it is. Like we would call it is wrong. As child trafficking is happening like across the world, you know, I don't care what the law says. I would say it is wrong. So like,
I think child trafficking and slavery are things that I think should obviously be wrong in every country. Yes.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So can we speak about as Westerners who like what do you call it? That live in the Western world, and can we talk about like as as a as a Western collective of of freedom of speech in the Western countries, if it is okay to criticize Israel, yes or no?
I generally think it should be. I just don't know the freedom of speech laws. Like, I don't even know what people are getting in trouble for in other countries.
Okay, let's go to America. Okay, if you don't want to go to other countries, America.
Well, here,
America.
how about this? Give me an example of somebody who's gotten punished for just being critical of Israel in a European country.
Well, I mean, like, I can give you like what do you call it, specific example, but like in the Germany, in the new law, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I think it's the president or something. I don't know all the the hierarchies of their Bund, as they call it, as their parliament. But I think it's their president. He came out and said, or prime minister, he came out and said, look, if you're criticizing Israel, you can there's no room
Okay,
for
so
that.
you're telling me if I go look up right now in Germany, you're telling me that there is a law that says you can't criticize Israel in Germany?
No, they're not. It's not like what they call it. It is basically what it is, but they're what they call it. That's not how they put it, but they're basically saying that though, because what they said is anti-Semitism has no place over here.
Saying anti-Semitism has no place over here is not the same as making a law saying it's illegal to criticize Israel.
No, but they're making new laws though, that if you're going to get
what new laws?
If you're getting naturalization, like for example, you're an immigrant, yeah, you're going to Germany, naturalization, they're going to ask you, what do you think about the state of Israel, huh? And and then do you think it has the right to exist? And you have to write I don't even know what the question is, but like they're going to ask you about Israel and what do you think about Israel? And if you make those answers wrong, I don't know, it's up to them. And they think you're anti-Semitic, get the fuck out. So I think that's pretty.
So wait, anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism or anti-Israeli?
I mean, like right now, it's all intertwined. I don't know what they.
Well, there's two different things here. Like I could understand a country being opposed to anti-Semitism, but that's different than anti-Israeli.
But that's the problem nowadays, though, because if you criticize Israel, you're anti-Semite.
But you said that they were blocking anti-Semitism, or what was it?
Look, people are making protests against Israel. They blocked that. About what they're doing in Gaza.
Okay, who's blocking? Okay, who's blocking protests right now?
Well, France tried to do it didn't work out, and Germany did it. I think it worked out. They're arresting people, and what do you call it? I think also kicking people out, deporting certain people if they're doing protests against Israel and speaking out against Israel.
Okay.
Or like saying like for example, like what is going on in X or Twitter, like it's like free Palestine. I don't think it's free Palestine. I think probably that even also considered anti-Semitic. But from the river to the sea is anti-Semitic. Decolonization is anti-Semitic. I don't know how that happened, but that's anti-Semitic as well. So if you reuse those words, get the fuck out of X. So like that's what I'm saying. That's how things have gone crazy. So so I can't even say what it is because because you can say certain things you don't think is anti-Semitic and say, hey, I don't think Itamar Ben Gvir, he's a Zionist extremist. Oh, anti-Semitism, get the fuck out of here.
You think if you call Ben Gvir an extremist, you think you'll get kicked out of a country?
I'm just giving you an example. I'm talking in Germany. They might say, look, yeah, that's
in Germany. If you criticize Ben Gvir and call him an extremist, do you think you'd get kicked out of Germany?
Who knows? I mean, they're so vague right now.
You know, you just said it. You gave.
I don't know. Like the law is so vague. That's what I'm saying. Like so, anything can be conflated as anti-Semitism nowadays. Like in the U.S. Congress, they say if you criticize Zionism, it's anti-Semitism. That's put into law right now in U.S. Congress. That that if you're like anti-Zionism, is anti-Semitism. But there's like plenty of Jews who are not Zionists. But they say they put that in the law. They say anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism. Do you believe in that? That anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism?
Not necessarily, but I mean they can cross over really easily.
Sure thing. I don't think they should though. But do you think what they call the students right now should be what they call lose their jobs in the universities in Harvard and etc. We've seen all that.
For the people that were supporting the October 7th attacks.
Oh boy, then okay, they didn't say they were supporting October 7th attack, but moving on from that one, okay, what about the ones that are protesting right now and saying free Palestine from the river to the sea, and what else they're saying, decolonization or intifada?
You would have to. I don't. You're speaking like such general statements. I don't even know what we're talking about. I'm not sure what we're. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people from Harvard schools and etc. are losing their jobs, losing internships.
Okay.
Because they support Palestine, like
was it because of supporting Palestine, or was it because they wrote a newsletter where they were supporting the October 7th attacks?
I mean, they're all lumped in together, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
are you sure they're all lumped in together?
Yeah,
are you sure they weren't explicitly supporting the October 7th? Okay, I'm pretty sure they were supporting.
They're all lumped in together. They're all lumped in together. Like like they're not making any differences about like what you call it of or even like people that are like in I think I don't know in Canada or other news channels. They lost their jobs because they were supporting Palestine. They didn't say anything anti-Semitic. They were like criticizing.
Really?
Israel.
Who lost their job just for supporting Palestine? Give me one case. Let's go over it. We can read it right now.
Susan Sarandon. Not lost her job, but lost her agency. Okay.
Okay. Susan Sarandon. Is this a student at Harvard?
No, come on. Susan Sarandon is an actress, Matt. Come on.
Oh, this is an actress. And what happened to her?
She got let go by her agency.
She was let go by her agency. What did she say? What were her statements?
I don't know. She went to she went to a pro-Palestinian rally and did a speech, and then there wasn't anything anti-Semitic that I can discern, but but she supported Palestine. She said like what they're doing is wrong, and and genocide and etc.
I'll go find. We'll see what she said. On Thursday, it seems like she shared a video on X/Twitter in which a Norwegian doctor talked about Israel's alleged systematic man-made slaughtering of patients at Al-Shifa, the Gaza Strip's largest hospital. The doctor also described an unprecedented attack on a civilian society occupied by one of the most brutal and ruthless armies in the world, a clear reference to the Jewish state and the IDF. The physician who worked in Al-Shifa also accused Israel of racism. See, also previously showed on X information about how to boycott brands that have ties to Israel, posted the accusations that Israel lied about 40 beheaded babies to justify a genocide, and reposted a video of the chairman of the Jewish Network for Palestine saying it's not Jews versus Muslims, it's the oppressors versus the oppressed, and it started in 1948 when Israel was founded on violence and theft. Sarandon's posts against Israel during its war against Hamas, such as accusing the Jewish state of apartheid and committing a Gaza Holocaust, go as far back as October 8th, just one day after Hamas terrorists killed 1,200 people. She didn't condemn the Hamas atrocities and instead posted a message on X that called Gaza an open-air prison and shared the hashtag Gaza genocide. Okay, so
yeah, none of it, like, I don't think it's anti-Semitic. No, like, I mean, anti-Semitic.
I don't know if I would say it's anti-Semitic or not. It's heavily anti-Israel for sure.
Okay, so anti-Israel is okay.
Sure.
Anti-Israel is okay. Yeah, like anti-Israel.
Okay, wait, hold on. I don't disagree with you. Anti-Israel is fine. Sure.
Yeah.
However, nothing legal happened to her. Apparently, her agency dropped her.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say though, like a lot of people are losing their job. What they call it, like even being doxxed and etc. Like especially students, and being told they won't be got hired and etc. For supporting for supporting Palestine. And even Dua Lipa, like I told you, Charbu Harbu, they were telling her like they want to put a bullet in her head. Mia Khalifa, they want to put a bullet in her head. I mean, just because
we're mixing out a whole bunch of different things right now.
I know, but no, just these are people. I'm just saying that what people that are supporting.
Oh, apparently Susan Sarandon also said Jews are getting a taste of what it feels like to be a Muslim in this country. She was saying that American Jews have it coming, that we don't deserve to live free from harassment and assault. No, sorry, that was an added thing. So it was the Jews are getting a taste of what it feels like to be a Muslim in this country, who are so often, what was this? So often subjected to violence. Oh, after October 7th. Yeah, I think if an agency wants to drop her for this, I mean, it seems like, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with them doing this. I think that right after October 7th terrorist attack, I think I'd probably be pretty wary of working with people that are making what seem to be like pro-Hamas statements. But it's not like her statements were just random, like pro-Palestinian statements. It's not like her statements were just random, like anti-Israeli statements. Like it seems like these are pretty pointed statements, and there's no law or anything tossing these people out. It just seems like an agency decided to stop working with her because her statements kind of sound like she's supporting Hamas, which I think is fair.
I know, but right now there's a law though in Congress saying that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and there are laws in Germany as well that like what they call that, like if you're trying to get naturalization or trying to live there, they're going to ask you, hey, what do you think about Israel? Huh? Do you think Israel is a cool country, bro?
Sure.
And
I don't know about those German laws. If those German laws, I'd probably oppose that. But I don't know what Germany's immigration system looks like. But I mean, I would, yeah.
yeah, but don't you think that is what you call excessive, like to people? And do you think people should criticize Israel if they feel like it and if they are doing wrong?
If you want to criticize a country, I think you should always be able to criticize a country, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, we agree on that. Are you yourself afraid to criticize Zionism?
No.
Okay. Do you believe Zionism is perfect and there's nothing to criticize about it, or you don't want to criticize Zionism?
I literally earlier in this conversation told you that I disagree with the settlements, which are heavily driven by the most extremist type of like Jewish rhetoric, like Zionist and religious rhetoric. So I mean, seems like a criticism of Zionism to me, no?
Okay. Anyway, all right. We'll take that. Okay, and what to say? Yeah. So do you think that United States is a good, what do you call it, is a good agent for peace in the Middle East, even though it supports, because it's biased towards Israel?
Yeah.
Do you think? How so?
The United States was involved in brokering talks between Israel and Egypt. I think it was a big part of why that first bilateral treaty was signed, which was probably what led the road for a lot of other peace between Israel and other countries bilaterally. The United States works closely with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia tries to pursue peace with Israel, and the United States was involved in the Abraham Accords, where they also tried to pursue peace in other Middle Eastern countries with Israel. And the United States, was Clinton with the Oslo Accords and the Clinton parameters in the Taba Summit, like also tried to pursue peace in the Middle East with Israel. So, yeah.
But how can you say that though? Because Israel is the number one. What do you call it? America is the number one the arms dealer to Israel. So how come you're the arms dealer should be like the peace, the harbinger of peace?
I don't know. We're probably the number one like contributor to the fucking Egyptian military as well. No, like
yeah, exactly. So exactly, yeah. So how can you be like the harbinger of peace if you're also bombing places in the Middle East? And so don't you think like one of the crux of this problem as well is the United States, and that we need like a new
because probably without Israel having an army or military to defend itself, you would just have people like Hamas or Hezbollah marching in and murdering Jewish people.
No, I'm talking about like a new a new negotiator for peace. Like what does that have to be?
With a new negotiator be? I don't think selling weapons or anybody has anything to do with negotiations for peace.
No, because for example, just for example, let's say I'm Israel, and I'm getting money from I'm getting guns and money, from America, and you're Palestinian. So so how do you feel if I shot you with the guns that America has given to me, and then he's coming there and broken a peace deal?
I don't know. I mean, they were shooting with guns given to them by the Soviets. I don't understand what the point of this is. They're shooting with military arms shipped in from Turkey and bought with cash from Qatar, and then trained by militants from the IRGC in Iran. I'm like, what do you want me to say? So everybody has interest in this region. Like, what do you want me to say?
No. So that's exactly. So somebody that is outside of the region should be an outside, that has no interest and no biases.
Who has absolutely no interest or no bias in the Middle East?
Spain, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably not. Considering, you think countries that are going to be part of NATO aren't going to be seen as being like puppets of the United States?
Okay, China. Why not China?
I thought you just said Israel was selling military secrets to China. Do you think anybody would want China to be negotiating these things?
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's countries out there, it's better in the United States at least, because that's the number one arms dealer. And that's the problem with the modern world nowadays, because all the negotiations are done by the powerful countries, by the people that have the military powers and etc. Even though
the negotiations are done by the powerful countries because nobody cares if the Ivory Coast is sanctioning peace between Israel and Palestine, right? Like it has to be a powerful country to ensure that the negotiations are backed by something, right?
Yeah, but for example, Bill Clinton ushered in peace with the Good Friday deals. No, I'm talking about the Northern Ireland problem, the Good Friday deals between Ireland and UK, between the Northern Ireland, IRA, and UK, because they didn't have vested interest; they weren't selling weapons and etc. But at this point, though, after them bombing the Middle East, several countries as well, and being pro-Zion, having several pro-Zionist people that work for them, like we've seen Stewart guy. Harassing a kebab guy in New York City, calling him like he's raping his kids and etc. And tell him like 4,000 kids is not enough. I think we need a new negotiator there. I mean, because I don't care if it's what they call another Western country, but I think America being the sole negotiator of everything, whether it's war and peace, has been what do you call it? Not just Israel, actually, not just Israel and Palestine, but for a lot of things has been like fucked up because you can't have the guy that's selling the biggest arms dealer and the biggest murderer as well being the peace negotiator. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. Well, if you can find someone else you think is better to negotiate it, then let me know.
I mean, sure we can find. All right. Before we go, how do you see yourself as a, what do you call it? Do you see yourself as a progressive or like liberal? Because I never get like what do you call it, your politics.
Probably like progressive/liberal, somewhere in between there, somewhere around there.
All right, but like because I don't know, man. Like because you seemed like a lot of the times like somebody like Douglas Murray or what do you call it? What's that? Milo Yiannopoulos and etc. Like I have alternative like what do you call it? The bedroom lifestyles, but like but politically are basically pro-Western, Western chauvinist, that kind of stuff.
It's a really weird way of putting my politics. I don't know what you mean by saying I have pro-Western foreign policy. I mean, probably largely. I mean, there's going to be things that I think America does well with foreign policy, like interventions in Bosnia. There's going to be things I think we do poorly with foreign policy, like the occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan. There's going to be things that we support that I probably agree with, like Israel and Ukraine. There's probably going to be things that we support that I disagree with, like our actions in the 60s and 70s in South America, or intervention in Vietnam. I mean, I don't know. It depends on. I mean,
do you think like do you?
I'm gonna have like a per conflict view. I'm not just gonna have like a blanket like America good or America bad when it comes to, criticizing or supporting American foreign policy.
All right, because like a lot of things I saw, like because I don't know, you seem very comfortable with like Nick Fuentes and what's that other guy? What's that neo-Nazi leader?
Richard Spencer.
Richard Spencer, yeah.
Talking about people that I've debated dozens of times on my stream before.
I don't know. It didn't seem like you're debating with Richard Spencer. It looks like you're very like comfortable with him, like you're agreeing a lot of stuff about like what they call it, American supremacy and etc.
I mean, I would agree that America is a good country. I mean, there's probably things in the fucking what do you call it? The My Struggle, Mein Kampf. I'm sure I could probably read some things in there, but agree with it. Doesn't make me a Nazi. Are you saying you wouldn't agree with a far right person on any topic at all?
No, I would agree with him on certain. Of course.
Can you give me an example of something that Richard Spencer or Nick Fuentes said that I agree with that makes it seem like my views are similar to that of a Nazi?
Did not say like did I say you're a Nazi?
No, but you made it sound like I was comfortable with their views. I'm very curious what
views
I
say you're espouse that I agree with. No, because I think they're Western supremacists as well, but like maybe like far right Western supremacists.
Western supremacists. I think the West is really cool. I think in some cases better than some of the other countries. Yeah, of course. But I'm also from the West. I'm sure if I go to talk to anybody from like an Arab or Muslim theocratic country, they're going to tell me that their theocracies and their Sharia law is superior to the degeneracy of the West. I'm sure they'll probably feel that way too. It's not surprising at all that somebody from a particular region of the world would think their particular region of the world has better values than other regions of the world. Is that surprising?
No, but like what my problem with you is like you say you're progressive and etc. But like when you meet like people that are like very like far right or etc. You're like you're basically having like I don't know playful like a playful date with them.
Yeah, my politics can be quite different from another person, but it doesn't mean I have to be screaming at them the entire time. I've disagreed with basically every single thing you've said here. I think our conversation's been fairly friendly, even if we've been adversarial. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
But do you believe like in any leftist revolutionary that like do you have idealized any leftist revolutionary?
Absolutely not. I'm not a leftist. I'm a liberal. I'm a capitalist. I'm not a socialist or a communist ever. Progressivism generally refers to a set of socio-political values, and I'm a liberal, so I generally believe in things like capitalism or liberalism, broadly speaking. I'm not a socialist or a communist any more than I would be a supporter of a Nazi or a fascist.
But don't you think the progressivism, because the people that bought like progressivism are not the ones like, what do you call that, kowtowed to the, to the far right elements and etc. But the people that like, that stood like Martin Luther King and etc. That stood in front of the the military machine or the system that brutalized people and that is how we came to be at this moment right now. Like, you know, like me and you can talk. There's like freedom of speech.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Workers'
Martin
rights.
Luther King was a liberal. Martin Luther King was not a socialist. I don't know what the point
He
of any
was
of
not
this
a
is.
socialist, but he was a radical, though. He was not a liberal. Like, I mean,
He was a radical for his time, sure.
yeah, but like he was not a liberal, or like, so like a lot of progressive stuff happened, like, you know, because like the French Revolution, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, because you're progressive, but like I'm just saying though, because I think the problem with you is like, you know, because you keep what do you call it, kowtowing to the people, like, or like, you know, give the benefit of the doubt, the imperialists or people that have all the power and the money and etc. Like, you know, like. And do you think that, you know, they would do us a good benefit if we just kowtow to them, not
I
just
don't think
like
we should kowtow to anybody. But when I
yeah.
look at a secular democracy that has achieved pretty amazing things in the past 75 years, and I compare that to a Islamist, Sunni extremist government that says that they want to destroy all of the country of Israel and have spent the better part of the last 20 years digging up water pipes to shoot rockets into a civilian population, it's pretty easy to take a side there unless I'm willing to do some insane mental Olympics to justify the infinite launching of rockets from the Gaza Strip.
But so do you think what do you call South Africa was a democracy as well, and what do you call it, the people that are fighting against were vile people and etc.
South Africa was a type of democracy, but they also had an apartheid regime where people were systematically disenfranchised of their rights based on their race. The ANC is not the comparison you're looking for. The ANC explicitly did not try to target civilians. The ANC explicitly only tried to target government infrastructure. You keep making these comparisons to like the ANC. Do you agree that people in apartheid South? Hold on. Do you agree that? I don't care. I'm going to ramble for a little bit because you rambled over and over again. People in apartheid South Africa were being oppressed by the government. They couldn't run for office. They were sometimes shipped out to I don't remember the name of the places, but you had black people that were shipped out to live in whole other villages and ethnically cleansed from places that were systematically deprived of rights as a rule of law from the government. And the same thing existed in the United States of America. These were people that were brutalized. These were people that were lynched. These were people that were repressed. These were people that were ethnically cleansed. Guess what? The ANC didn't fire rockets into civilians all day. Guess what? Martin Luther King didn't build rockets and shoot it all day. These people advocated for largely peaceful movements. They didn't just agree in movements that didn't have violence. They agreed explicitly in the principles of nonviolence. And guess what? The ANC persevered in South Africa. The entire world supported them. Martin Luther King persevered in the United States, and we got civil rights, and the entire world supported him. There's a reason why the Palestinians are not being supported by the entire world, but are only being supported by the Muslim bloc and dumb kids in the West that don't know anything about the situation on the ground. So I think that just like the black people, unless you think black people are better than Middle Eastern people, I think that black people that were being brutalized in South Africa were able to peacefully resist the South African government under Nelson Mandela and accomplish peace and equality for the people, largely. And I think that people in the United States under Martin Luther King did the same. I don't know why you think Palestinians can't do that. Clearly, there's a difference between people in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The West Bank people, despite the activities might happen over there, are largely more peaceful than the people in the Gaza Strip, and their living conditions are better as a result. That's not very surprising. So I think that we can advocate for the people in the Gaza Strip to act like the people in the West Bank, and their living conditions would probably be better too. There's a reason why there's an embargo in the Gaza Strip, and there's not one in the West Bank.
So you think like the people in the West Bank are living in what do you call it, and champagnes and chandeliers, and what do you call it, living a good life? So that like, you know, so that's the ideal life that people that.
Do you think people in the West Bank are living under the same conditions as people in the Gaza Strip?
But what does it matter though? Like, so like
it does. It absolutely matters. I'm sorry. Do you think that chandeliers
a house slave is better than a field slave? Okay, so that's what you're saying. So like, you know, if you're a good slave, yeah, you can live in the house. You can be living a good slave, yeah, like, and then, you know, you can wear clothes, maybe, I don't know, clean the kitchen, etc. And you know, like, you know, not live in the field. So like, you're telling them like, okay, so if you're being good, you know, you're not going to live in you're not going to have to suffer the same, like, what do you call it, problems as a field slave, but you can live in the house and become a house slave. So that's what you're advocating for the Palestinians. Be a good boy, be a good slave, and then you become live in the house. So that is your, what do you call it, your solution for the Palestinian thing.
Is a house slave better than a field slave?
A living condition, yeah, probably, yeah. So, well, but like, that's not what I'm advocating for people, though. That when you're an anti-abolitionist for slavery, I'm not going to say, hey, look, man, like, you know, be a good slave, and then, you know, you can live in the house. And that's how, like, you know, all you should, what do you call it? All you field niggers, like, you know, all you that you should strive for living in the house. So that's what you be a good boy.
Let's say that I buy this the example of the comparison. You said a house slave is better than a field slave, right? When people like Frederick Douglass or American black abolitionists were writing and learning how to, proliferate pamphlets and everything else to free people, do you think they learned from house slaves, or do you think they learned from field slaves how to read and how to write?
House slaves, probably.
Okay, so listen, even if I go with the most ridiculous example, wouldn't it be better to have all of the Palestinians be house slaves? Because if you're a house slave versus a field slave, you're one step closer to freedom. Wouldn't that be the path we'd want to walk on?
But okay, all right. So yeah, but what happened after what they call the house slave learned though? Like for example, like Toussaint Louverture in Haiti, they started a revolution. So they didn't stay a house slave. So that was not the house slave. Being a house slave is not the end goal for freedom.
No one said it's the end goal, but right now the living conditions in the West Bank are better than the living conditions in the Gaza Strip, and it seems like that's largely because in the Gaza Strip.
We're not talking about like what do you call it, easing the wounds, man. We're talking about curing the disease, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like I'm trying to say, like curing the disease and what do you call it, having freedom for people and stopping the humiliation and what do you call it, and degradation of people and the death and the spiral of death and destruction that's going on in the Middle East.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Then more freedom. Okay. Well, who do you think lives a better life? Do you think Palestinians in the West Bank live a better life, or do you think Syrians live a better life on average?
Look, hey man, look, I could say.
Do you think Palestinians in the West Bank live a better life on average, or do you think people in southern Lebanon live a better life on average? Do you think people in the West Bank who are house slaves apparently live a better life on average, or do you think people in Yemen live a better life on average?
With this kind of talk, you're throwing out everything that even George Washington fought for. So you're saying like we shouldn't even fight over like the British, man. Look, it's ridiculous.
Okay. I think it's telling that you don't answer a single question I ask, and you always respond with another diatribe, another question.
All right. I'll answer your question. Okay, yeah, all right.
I'm just saying, I think it's silly. I think it's like the answer is obvious. The people in the West Bank have better living conditions than the people in Gaza, and the steps to freedom are going to be led by Palestinians like those in the West Bank and hampered or hurt by Palestinians that are in the Gaza Strip. I think it's super easy. It's very, very easy, very logical. Anybody would be able to say that. Obviously, that's true. So,
all right. But like one last thing I want to say though before I go though, just oh yeah. ANC might not have fought, but like as you see in the border, ANC also has fought like with soldiers outside with the borders of South Africa. But as we have seen the border wars, it was a brutal war between like several countries and in the borders of South Africa.
What's the name of this war? I can look it up. I'm sorry.
Border wars.
The border wars.
Yeah, 23 years. Yeah, with even Cuba going into it. Cuba like supporting the Angolans and what do you call them? Botswanans, or I think forget what what country was it? Like yeah, Cuba was supporting two countries. There's
what does this have to do with anything?
So yeah, like the people fought. I'm just saying, like the South African regime didn't wasn't like the people didn't shuck and jive and and sang songs and etc. No, the ANC.
It sounds like a country that was fighting for independence. Yeah.
Yeah, like people, like what do you call it? People fought. The MPLA fought, and other organizations fought. So I don't know all their names, but yeah, all of them fought against South Africa with aid of the Soviets, aid of the Chinese, aid of the Cubans, especially who put boots on the ground. So that's how the South African regime ended. Because they were facing a lot of pressure from outside as well in this border. So it's not just that was peaceful and then everything ended. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. That is ahistorical as well, what you said about South Africa.
We were talking about ending apartheid in South Africa.
But how do you think apartheid ended? They negotiated with Cuba. Fidel Castro helped negotiate the freedom of Nelson Mandela.
Okay, I don't know enough about the ending of apartheid in South Africa. You're telling me it was a result of these border wars?
That was a significant part of it. Yeah.
How much of a part of it?
I mean, I don't know. If you spend 23 years fighting your neighbors and expanding, and then the Cubans come, and then you have one of the largest wars since World War II in Africa, and Cristo Carnaval and etc. A lot of bloodshed going on, and then a lot of manpower, and then the West abandons you. Yeah, that has a lot of things about it. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of different things happening. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else?
Oh, that's it, man. Nice talking to you, man.
All right. It's a heated combo, but I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Right.